Welcome to the Non Superheroes Just Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing to barbecue is. Hello, I am Sean Laurie, and today, guys, I am actually excited because man, it's actually through Instagram and social media and all that, right? It's a beautiful thing, and I've been able to see this brother on social media. Just looks like he's just so super involved in his kids. He's just doing some amazing things, man, and being able to get his perspective. I have Tyrese on here today, man, and how you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing all right, man. I just came back from traveling all around the world. Just trying to make
Hey,
sure that my kids is taken care of, but they games got canceled, so I can't really like do much. So I heard from
yeah,
their grandmother and also spoke to the kids earlier. So everything is all right. They home. I know the weather's out there is frightful. And then my friend was here
yeah.
celebrating my birthday as well. I had to make sure she's got home safe and sound and some friends and stuff like that. So they all good.
That's dope, man. And I wanted to actually ask you too, like, because I like to do an icebreaker, right? So, what is probably the most? Because you did just have a birthday, happy belated birthday again. But what
Thank you.
is the most memorable? Um, let's say what was the most memorable birthday gift you got growing up?
Woo. Dang, that's deep. The most birthday present I have. Well, I would say like my mom when she was alive, like she used to like do like little gestures for me, and just being like having my kids like I feel like just being a dad, and I look back at it
Mm,
and like, dang, I'm really a dad now. You know what I mean? Like I sit back and
yeah.
wonder, like, like because my childhood was rough when I was little, so every
Okay.
time I wanted something, right? Every time I wanted something, I never got what I always wanted. I
Mm,
might get like little percent of that, and then every time I don't think about what I want, things happen unexpectedly. Like I get it from strangers or whatever, but like the people that was close to me were never like some of them or most of them never gave me what I always wanted. So I don't know, but my
oh,
mom was
oh, that's.
definitely one of them. My grandmother,
Mm,
my aunt Hattie was like the ones that did gave me gifts that I can't regret. And then my kids when they came in this world, so just to see them happy and connect with them, and when I look at my kids, I
that's
know I
dope.
have I have things to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I like that, bro. No, I like that. So, with that being said, you obviously being a single father, being so involved in your kids and things like that, man. I want to ask you a little bit about your journey, if you don't mind, because I'm assuming, or maybe that was the game plan, but I'm assuming you didn't necessarily go into fatherhood thinking you was going to be a single father. Unless maybe you did, maybe just that was a certain situation or whatnot. But I'm assuming, right, that wasn't how you thought it would be as of today.
And I have a YouTube channel. It's called Tyrese Get It. I talk about
Okay.
topics like this. I haven't made content over a year now, but when you watch my content, you will know my story more. But I talk about
Mm,
this in no, I never wanted to become a single dad. That was not even my description. I wanted to be a
mm,
husband. I wanted to be married, a husband, and have children. Because of
yeah.
my life circumstances of how I grew up and the things that I seen. Like I grew up in broken homes, and also I'm a foster child. So it's like
Mm,
a lot to like play with those things to see how I grew up is like all dysfunctionness of my life. I was broken. When I met my children's mother, it was like like upper teens because we dated our whole
okay.
20s. We knew each other our whole 20s, so we dated in a relationship and had three. amazing, beautiful kids that we had together. So, I was in love with my children's mother. Actually, I was really, really in love. Um,
Mm.
I wasn't like me. I'm an honest guy. Like I really was in love
Yeah.
with my children's mother, and
Yeah.
I tell my daughter this to this day because she was like, "Oh, how you and mommy relationship was?" Like I was in love with your mom. You know, she might not say that. I don't know, but I'm gonna be honest. Like I was really in love with your mom, and I would literally do anything for this woman. But now I look at things differently now. Um,
Yeah.
and it hurts because we was engaged when I broke up with her, and I did because it felt like I was growing to somewhere I need to be, and she was still stuck in the same place from her traumas and stuff that she needs to grow and not realizing. And like I said, I'm not going to bash my children's mother. I have love and respect for her, but certain things in
Yeah.
decision making, I don't like what she does, and
Yeah.
it brought us in a bad place. So I had no choice
Mm.
but to leave her and stuff like that. Sometimes do I regret it? At one time I did because I wanted my family back and I feel like I made a mistake at one point. But then she kept pushing
Mm.
me away. And the more she kept pushing me away, it started making me see that I did make that smart decision of breaking up with her. And we was engaged.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you that too, man. Like, so how do you, because like what you said, right? Like, especially, there's many of us out there that's like, man, we want to make this work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We want to make this relationship work. And so, but like, for whatever reason, the woman that we're with is kind of toxic, or maybe there's
yeah,
growing up stuff we need to do, or whatever the case
yeah.
is, or it's just not
That's
a
the
good
worst.
mix, right? It's just not a
Yeah.
good, yeah, it's just not a good mix. So how do you kind of balance that out, bro? Where it's like, hey, you know what? I do want this family, but at the same time, I need to do what's best for me, which in the
Yes.
long term will actually be what's best for the kids.
What I saw the hurt in their eyes. I saw the
Mm,
hurt in my children's eyes because it hurted me. And once when the children's hurt, it should affect you as a parent as well. Something I'm doing not right.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
I had to look at myself in the mirror and I said, this ain't it. She's hurting,
yeah.
I'm hurting, the kids hurting. And it was a hard pill to swallow because I tried everything, Sean, everything in my power to keep my family going. I did.
Mm,
And I'm still in therapy to this day. 8 years strong. The same therapist. She started with the same therapist, but then she stopped. I'm still with the same therapist. So
that's
that
dope. So
speaks
you was one.
volumes right there,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's what I was gonna say, bro. You was willing to put in the work too, which is dope in itself. While like even after the relationship, right? You like, man, there's still a lot of self growing I need to do, right? And so,
Yes.
like I said, which is dope. Just even the different guests I've been having on, man, it's amazing just to see different men being transparent because the stigma as far as getting therapy and all those things, right? Especially in the black
Yes.
community, right? So
Right.
the fact that you doing that, bro, is dope. Now, so I wanted to ask you then, man, like with that being said, like you said, you had to do what was best for you and the kids. So in that right now, obviously you are a single father, and I'm sure there's times where you guys don't see eye to eye. What is probably there's many challenges, but right now, what is probably the most challenging aspect of you being a single father, and how have you been able to overcome that at this time at this moment?
Not being in the same household as them. That's the
Mm,
hardest.
yeah.
Because you're missing everything. You're missing
Mm,
their development skills, the littlest things when they call, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, my kids update me with stuff, but because she got the more of that end of the stick than I do.
yeah.
So it's all about just because I'm not in the home with them. So it make me feel like I'm
Mm,
not as consistent, but I am doing as much as I can, even though they don't live with me.
yeah.
So that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
just we're not in the same home. And my
So
daddy,
how
and
do
she's
you
a
do?
daddy's girl too. My daughter's a daddy's girl, so it hurt her even more. That
Mm, no, I believe it, bro. I was gonna ask you too, bro. Like, what? So, what do you do with the? Because right there's I'm sure there's different parenting style, right? So,
yeah,
how do you handle that too? Where, okay, they're like, man, at mom's house we could do this, but when we over here we could do this. Like, how do you? And is there ever like conflict with that? Because right, it's like, well, mom lets me do this or dad lets me do this. Like, how do you kind
yes,
of navigate? Because that's what I wonder too. Like,
yes,
that looks that
yeah,
at least for me, because like right, I'm even me and my lady now, like we in the same household, but there's certain things we might disagree on that we gotta come together
right.
and then kind of be on the same page. But you guys are in two different households, so how does that work, bro?
Man, it is difficult. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It's difficult. And when one man is like, "Mommy said this," but when you come here, you don't do that, or Daddy let us do this, but it's hard. And then kids are smart. So if
Yeah.
they say if I tell them no, they're gonna go to their mother and say,
Mm.
and then they're gonna transmit it back to the other parents. So it's like trying to confuse us too, you know.
Yeah.
And you were like, we just told you no, or I say yes and she said no, and that's confusement right there. So it's like, I when I'm here in my house, I already have like garden rules. Like me, I love God, so I like to say the Lord. That's the number one maker right there. Jesus Christ, the
Yeah.
Lord Savior. I cannot walk out with Thank you for my grandmother, my Aunt Hattie, my mom having me, getting
Yeah.
to know Him by going to church and stuff until I got broken up into homes. Yeah, and then having me reconnected with Christ again. And
Mm.
so it's like you gotta make sure I try to pray with my kids. I try to have my kids look in the mirror, trying to uplift them. Like I see on
Yeah.
social media, like what do you see? I try to I have like books of like Bibles and stuff for them, like little devotion books for them to read at night. And they're like,
Yeah.
Daddy, we gotta read that again. I'm like, yeah, because I want y'all to know, it's these things we have to practice because we have to be the example, and that's what Christ was, the example. We have to be
Yes.
the example in our own household, even if it's messy. Like I said,
Mm.
I grew up in a crazy environment, and I just want to be at peace. And I'm starting to feel what peace feels like because I'm from New York City. It's all about noise, traumatic,
Mm.
drama, and every day someone is murdering somebody. So I turn around. I'm so immune to it.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't affect me. I didn't know how to cry. I didn't know how to show emotion after a while. But now, because I'm in
Mm.
therapy, I'm letting it all out,
Yeah.
and I'm letting my
That's
kids
good.
know it's okay to let the feelings out. Like be an example
Mm.
in this house to like when they come up in the house, take the shoes off. I don't know what they do at their mom's house. Take the
Yeah.
shoes off, because that's where I was raised. Take the shoes off. Don't put no, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
certain things I know I don't like. Certain parenting of my family does, and I'm learning from different perspective, even from people I'm knowing now. Like it's a learning process. I want to say shout out to my step pops because I didn't ever have a biological dad growing up. My step pops
Mm.
took me under his wing and showed me things, and he's a married man with 5, 6 kids. So, and
Mm.
yeah,
That's I want to salute you too, man, real quick, as well as because like you said, so much that you have dealt with growing up, even some things you're dealing with now, bro, and you still making sure that you're doing your best for your kids. You're trying to
yes,
make sure that you constantly trying to improve. You still going to therapy, right? Like all these
yeah,
different things you doing, bro, to continue to elevate yourself and your kids, which I think is amazing and dope because there's certain values that you have that you're trying to make sure your kids have instilled as well. So I wanted to ask you because, and maybe you already kind of answered this. So your parenting style, is your parenting style based off of, like you said, your stepdad, and based off of maybe what you didn't see or what you wanted, or is it more so when you started to do therapy, it kind of helped you figure out what type of parent you wanted to be for your kids?
I feel like that's a good question. I feel like it's based on what I didn't have, my dad, and
Mm,
being in the foster system after a while, and seeing what I saw in different
yeah,
households, and seeing what I didn't have. Like, oh man, like I can go through days telling you stuff about my childhood and how I was raised. And, I didn't have, like, I didn't go to the prom. I wasn't always the freshest. I didn't take good
yeah,
care of myself. At a young age, I was smoking weed after a while, drinking after a while. Like, I'm guilty of all that. Um,
yeah,
it's like in the circle that I did, and this dysfunction grew up to, like, not have proper love in the household from different places I was at. I was getting
mm,
abused,
mm,
misused. It was
yeah,
just sad
yeah,
because it's like, how did we get to this? And it leads to, I wanted to do better for, when I do have kids. I want to be a better father. When I do this, I want to make sure I'm doing something right. But I didn't know how to do it. That's the thing, because I was so
mm,
corrupted, mentally damaged. I just didn't know
yeah,
how.
mm, yeah,
But then
yeah.
that's
That
when
that
the
was that was
therapy comes in, and
No, my bad, bro. I was gonna say that basically became your norm, right? Like
yes,
the dysfunction was your norm, so you probably
hmm
didn't even know nothing else, right? So anyone says
yes,
something else to you, you probably looking at them crazy, like, what do you mean? Like, that's possible,
yes,
or that's something you do, So
right.
that's crazy, bro.
That's how I was in and I was full of anger. That made me full of
Mm,
anger, made me feel like mad, pissed, and just made me hate the world.
mm. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. So like with your support system, because I'm thinking right as a single father, there's times where you have work, I'm sure, or you had different plans, a different event or something you had to go to. Right? What do you do, man? I don't even know. Hopefully, you do have a good support system. You could tell me if you do. But if even if you do, I'm sure there's times where maybe the family or whoever you rely on can't necessarily help out. What do you do in those moments where if you have work or you had an event, do you just cancel it? How do you kind of maneuver in that? Because you get the kids maybe during a week or in a weekend.
Um,
Like how do you maneuver through that situation?
I know things always happen, so, like, I ask God for, like, I go to Him first to see if it's meant to go or not before I make my decision.
Mm,
Before, I was bad at making decisions, and it goes back to dysfunction and my
yeah.
lifestyle. I was so bad at making
Mm,
decisions and stuff like that. I was just didn't know what to do until I ended up getting the therapy and stuff. And that's what it leads to that. And
yeah.
then making knowing having the kids, like, I try not to plan something on that day knowing I have the kids versus doing it, because if I do, and then something comes now, if something comes up and she want me to take the kids, I don't mind taking them. I'm just gonna be like,
Yeah.
let's do it another time. But I get rare of those. But most likely, I'll make sure that I'm planning ahead and getting everything done. So when that time come, I could do what I need to do, and then when I have them, she could do what she want to do. And it's not easy because stuff happens. They get sick.
Yeah.
You got to get them from school because something happened. This and this and that. Like, cause my kids got their phone now, so they be calling me or their mother. Um, that's how I be knowing
No,
what's
that's
going on. And
no,
like,
that's
I was over there for my kids, like, since they was born. You know what I'm saying? Like, cutting the
mm,
umbilical cords and
mm. That's dope,
learning,
bro. That's dope.
learning. Just learn is everything. Every day is a learning process. But whatever you perceive in your mind, it's just who
Yeah.
you want to learn. Because I've been around people that you tell them something, but it goes out one ear and out the other. They don't want to learn. to hear your voice and your opinion, and then that's it. And they go back to doing what they
Mm.
want to do. It's like you
True.
didn't just
True.
hear what
No,
I
no,
just said.
yeah, yeah. No, that's real, bro. And that's what I was gonna ask you too, man. Like, so you being a single father, right? One, um, how do you deal with, I guess, certain maybe expectation, not expectation, I should say, like, how do you deal with do you deal with any backlash of being right? Because some people that might be hating, like, hey, you trying to better yourself, this and this, but you're a single father, you're this, you're that, right? So they want to
I,
judge you even though they have their own thing.
I
And
get
then the
backlash.
second,
I get
oh, go
backlash
ahead, go
all
ahead,
the
go ahead.
times. I get backlash from my children mother all the time. I'm a deadbeat.
mm,
It keeps
mm,
going. I'm a deadbeat. You don't know what you're doing, because I'm
mm,
healing. You know what I mean? You think you know everything. I always get that. She's over
yeah,
here telling her people about me, and she don't tell the truth
yeah,
about everything. She'll tell them half truth and then lie and say I'm this terrible guy. Some people that know me knows I'm a good father, and some that don't know
yeah,
me diss me, and I don't care. But then I read John 15, and John 15 when Jesus said that don't mind. Like, it took me a lot to process that, and he
mm,
said, don't get angry if the world hates you because the world hate me first.
mm, yeah,
And then I realized that I'm like, the world did hate Jesus first.
yeah.
So they're gonna come at
That's
me
real.
too.
Yeah, yeah. That's real, bro. No, that's facts. That's what I was gonna ask you too. So, does that make it even? You already have you already have the dynamic of being a single father, right?
Right.
But then you have the fact that you have people that don't know you that want to maybe throw dirt on your name and things like that. How do you
Mhm.
deal with that? Even does that make it difficult for you to even be able to try to date, right? Because I've seen it where I've seen fathers try to date, and the mother they don't want nothing to do with them, and they bash them, or they'll
Yeah.
say things that's not true, right? And anytime they even date, and they see any type of glimpse of happiness, right? It's like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
about to make sure I attack this man's character
Yes.
so
Yes.
he can't date, right? So have you had to deal with that, bro? Like, does it make it
I,
difficult to
I
date?
I did. I was dating a woman. I still care about her, and she does have a
Mm,
son. I'm not gonna say her name, but she probably gonna
yeah,
see it
yeah,
online. I still got love for her. She always been
yeah,
back and forth with my dynamic with my children's mother because she don't know what me and her dynamic, but I try to tell her, well, we don't talk no more, but I told her that,
yeah.
like, I don't want my children's mother, I want you, and I've been trying to show her that at that particular time,
Mm,
but she just kept debating, knocking my carrots. Like, like, my children's mother trying to embarrass me, and then she put her name and her son on his face. I don't have Facebook at all. She
yeah,
put my whole, like, status. You can write a status about everybody. Like, she wrote a whole
yeah.
status. I screenshot because one of my friends told me. I'm like, well, what? Put
That's
her, the
crazy.
girl I was dating, her son on this. I'm playing dad, and I'm like, what? And my, like, almost my whole social everything. I still got the screenshots to this day. And my phone is like, dang, man. I try to tell the cops about this. I wasn't gonna lie, I was destroyed.
Yeah.
And because I didn't, like, at first I didn't want to be with nobody. When I end up meeting that woman at the time with the child, um, I didn't want to be with nobody because it took me 3 years before I even got to be in another relationship. So I met that woman, with that child. So it's
Yeah.
like, when I was with my children's mother, when we got our engagement, I was destroyed. I did not want to be with another woman. I was damaged in so many ways. On top of
Mm,
dealing with my own problems, whew,
yeah.
it's sad, bro. Like, let me live. That's what I'm saying. Like, let me live. Like, because I don't want to deal with you. Now you want to mess up my happiness. and trying to get to,
Mm,
want to be with somebody that want to pursue me, not only just with me, but also with my kids, and you're getting
yeah.
jealous. Also, I dated another girl, she was a military woman. We cool to this day, and she wants the best for me. She got no kids, and she has everything. And when I met her, I had nothing. I was in a shelter at the time.
Mm,
Like me, I'm
mm,
gonna be real and transparent. And I
yeah.
had nothing. And when she came in my life, she made me feel like a kid, because like I said, I never had a perfect childhood, but also a man at the same time. And
Yeah.
because I think we stopped talking because I don't think she wanted to meet my kids. She wanted to be with
Mm,
me as a man because my value. She knew my value. She knew my
yeah.
value, but she didn't want. She just wanted to be with the single Tyrese, like no, like in her head, no kids or whatever. But she got to understand, like she knows I'm a father, but she don't want to deal with me because I am a father. I have three.
Yeah.
I can't just not leave my kids out of the picture.
Yeah.
My kids is
Yeah.
my
That's
world. So if I have to leave my kids out just to be with you, red flag. Gotta leave you at the
yeah.
door.
yeah. Yeah, man. That's what I was gonna ask you too, because right, like that's like you said, the woman previously, right? Like she was able to accept you and the kids, and that's where it gets difficult, right? Because
Yeah,
there is unfortunately some women that's like, hey, I'll date you, but you gotta kind of leave your kids. And some dudes do it, to each his own, right? They'll literally be like,
yeah,
hey, I'm gonna focus on this chick, forget my kids. So not only do you gotta deal with the dynamic at times with your kid's mother, right? But then you got to deal with, okay, can this woman accept me for who I am and
right,
accept my kids, right? And
right.
so with all that, bro, how do you manage that mental, emotional, like how do you make sure it is in a good, healthy state? Because like you said, struggling with that, being a single father, then there is times where you're stressing, and let's be honest, there's probably times when you're a little bit lonely too, as far as that companionship, right? So like, how do
Yeah.
you deal with all that? Is it strictly the therapy that's been helping, or what? How do you kind of manage all of that? Because that seems like a lot at times, bro.
It does get lonely because I wake up, I have nobody laying with me or to talk to me about situations I want to talk about. And
Mm,
the last woman I told you with the child, I thought it was somewhere going somewhere with us, but she was so in and out with me. It's like one minute she wanted me, but when things got hard and she ready to leave, and it hurted
yeah,
me because I really put so much into her, and I still got love for her to this day. I will never bash her because she's not a bad person. She helped
yeah,
me through she helped me get to some fears that I needed to get through, and those stuff is going to always be remarkable. I will never forget those moments, and stories I could tell you about that, but I just need space because it's like I don't want someone playing tug of war with me. Like one minute you're holding with me to fight with me, then let the rope go when things get tough. And it's like I need a woman that's gonna show me that when things get tough too, you're with me. Especially if
yeah,
I'm about to go through court and trying to handle the situation and get like this bad. I know it's a battle, but I can't. I know I can't do everything by myself because I'm trying to find ways to incorporate my mind. Therapy does help me to a certain degree because it's putting me at ease, and me talking
yeah.
to God as well, having a relationship with Him, just giving me the right people around me to help me. I want to shout out my like a dear friend of mine. Her name is Tina. Also my friend Samira. Um, Tina's my praying partner. I
Okay,
could go to her in prayer. We pray about everything, and we hang out once in a while when we get a chance. She also got daughters. Um, so I want to shout out to Tia. I mean, not Tia, Tina. Shout out
that's
to
dope.
Tina.
That's dope, man. So how? But as we get ready to close out, bro, I have two things to ask you. The first thing is, how do you keep yourself motivated, especially during those tough times? And then the second thing is, if you can give, and I'm sure there's a bunch of different advice or encouragement, but if you can give at least one, if you could think, or one thing that stands out as far as encouragement that you can offer for single fathers that might be dealing with similar things you dealt with, or maybe in the space of just not feeling like they're doing enough, or because of they're not able to see their
Yeah.
kids as much as they want to, right? Like, what's one thing that you can encourage them with? So what keeps what keeps yourself motivated during those tough times, bro? And then what is one thing you could do to what is one thing you could tell someone to encourage them when as a single father?
Number one, talk to God. Have a relationship
Mm,
with God. Have a
yeah,
relationship with Christ. That's number one. You don't have a
yeah,
relationship with Christ, you're crumbling. You have no way to really sit in clarity and really understand what God is speaking and
yeah,
those type of things when you pray and you talk to him and reading the word, and even when you pray sincerely and tell him everything, because some people tell God partial things. He already know us. We just gotta speak and let it be known, and he will grant us what we praying for, and he will
yeah,
bring the people to you, whatever we need to help us to stay afloat, if that makes sense. Two,
yeah,
you got to have great people around you. You need people that's going to uplift you, a great support system. You need some validation from people that you really rock with, and
mm,
not just half stepping. I mean, really need to really have a foundation, build a foundation that you can really trust them and they can trust you. So,
mm,
being trustworthy and really knowing that you can talk to them about anything and you never know what they can grant you with, and vice versa. Three, be the recipe to your own masterpiece. Be true to yourself.
mm,
And I always say be the recipe to your own masterpiece. That's my quote. Cause
yeah,
nobody can be you. And when you give people your formula, just a little bit, but not everything, because you don't want that make that masterpiece to be who you are. Nobody can't do the things you do and how you do it and how you handle stuff. So, and your creativity, your mind, the way how you are, and God gave you these gifts to put in you to
yeah,
show to the world. So just be you and use it in the right procedures, not try to do it for proper gain or evil. So I would
mm,
say be the recipe to your own masterpiece, and the fathers, I would say get help.
mm,
Try to get help as much as you can. Seek help. Try to get therapy, and have great people around you to motivate you to the help. And I understand there's gonna be moments where you're gonna feel like you're defeated, because it be moments I'll be defeated. It be moments where I'll be breaking down in tears, crying, and it's
yeah,
hard because it's like they don't understand what a man goes through. Especially we don't have. They tell us not to cry, not to this and that. Not basically, men. We have emotions too. And like Tyrese in the interview, he's like, "Men cry." I like that.
yeah,
He
yeah,
said, "Men cry." He said, "No, I don't need no tissue." He said,
yeah.
"Men cry," and
Facts.
that's real.
Yeah,
He said,
yeah, bro.
"A woman's not the only one to check on if something goes." He was explaining so well with that part, and I felt that, because we
Yeah,
need that. When
we do.
divorce is happening, don't only just check on the woman. If things going up with the career and going down, it's not only just that. You got to make sure you checking on your brethren, making sure that
Facts.
your brother's okay. And then you never know what that person will give back to you, because you was genuine to seek that person when in need.
Facts. Facts, bro. I love that, man. I love that. But well, real quick too. I know you said even though you haven't been on your YouTube, plug in the YouTube again. I'm also y'all. I'm gonna put in
Oh,
the information on YouTube and all that so y'all can check out his stuff. But what's the name of the YouTube as well, bro?
Tyrese Ty get it. Um,
Tyler.
my saying is, Ty on me, gang, 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 gang. What's good?
Let's go. Let's go.
That's how I start off, like
I
my
love it.
little, and I just be with it. You know what I mean? I do different things, but I
Yeah.
always preach in the midst of me doing like a prank or doing something in the video, but I try to start off. My main goal was motivational first before I did
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah. That's dope. I love it though, bro. I appreciate your time too, bro. And honestly, just hearing your story, hearing you speak on it, man. This is like honestly, it's one of those things for me. This is one of the reasons why I put this podcast together. One of the reasons why there's other things I'm working on outside of this that I'm trying to do in Texas because I'm in Texas. You
Okay.
in where you at? What state you in?
I'm in Rhode Island, but I'm
Rhode
originally from New York City, Brooklyn.
Okay, okay. Well, yeah, my goal, man, is to be able to put events together and things like that. Hopefully, at some point, be able to travel even to your area. You feel me? Like things
Yes.
like that, man. But I definitely just hearing your story, bro. Honestly, is one of those things that's you inspired me, bro. You know what I mean? You
Really?
inspired me, man, and I know there's other people that are inspired just by your story, man. Because you've been through a lot and you still able to smile. You still able to do what's necessary, man. So I salute you and your kids is definitely blessed to have
Thank
a
you.
father like you, bro. And you breaking cycles, you breaking chains, bro. So you know what I mean, just real talk, bro. I'm rooting for you. Like I said, I see from afar. Of course, I don't know everything, but I'm definitely going to do better as far as just checking up on you. Because like you said, at the end of the day, we should be checking on each other, man. Because I check on all different type of people. Anyone that knows me knows
So do I.
I'll just
Yeah.
rather check in. And so now, bro, you part of the people that you part of my circle where I'm gonna make sure you good. You know what I
Thank you,
mean? That's
man. And I'm gonna
that's
do
what
the
it is.
same. I'm gonna do the
Yeah, bro.
same.
So, I appreciate you, man. And make sure, like always, y'all, make sure y'all make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all tell a friend. And
Yes, sir.
remember, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. We'll see y'all, man.